I scammed the state out of a large sum of money in college. This video is part 3 of a continuing series on my channel of Reddit user confessions where people share their stories and confess their sins. Enjoy the video. I kicked a hitchhiker out of my car in the middle of the desert. About 8 months ago, I was driving alone on a trip to visit my parents. Most of this drive goes through a desolate desert with barely any vegetation. Approximately an hour into the drive I saw a 20-30-year-old with shorts, t-shirt, backpack, and a water bottle giving me the thumbs up on the side of the road. Considering the road is less used nowadays, I decided to help him out because it didn't seem like he would see anyone else that day. At first he seemed quite normal at first, but after we introduced each other and had a couple conversations, he started to act strangely. He would occasionally flick his head twice and make a face but would continue with the conversation like nothing happened. About 30 minutes after driving him, he started talking politics and was very adamant on his way of viewing things being correct. I wasn't afraid of sharing my own thoughts and opinions, so I did as respectfully as I could. Without warning he cut me off mid-sentence and screamed at the top of his lungs. I was shocked and really didn't know what to do. Looking back, he was obviously on drugs. He pushed me past the point of comfort in my own vehicle at that point, so I pulled over and ordered him to get out of my car. He took his stuff and once outside I zoomed off, leaving him at least 30 kilometers away from the nearest town. Later, when I arrived at my parents' house, I looked over to the passenger side door, and he left his water bottle. I assumed he was fine, but who knows? Maybe I killed some druggie because I didn't look to my right for a couple hours. I blocked a road by my house and made traffic divert for fun. When I was about 15 or 16, my parents used to work the night shift, so we had all summer to get into mischief. One time, my friends and I thought it would be a good idea to go to a construction site and take a barrier and place it in the middle of the road that runs through my town. At this certain spot, you couldn't really turn around and the alternate way was to go down some suspect country road, so we knew we would have a lot of victims. We blocked both directions, then waited at the blockage to see the cars stop and wonder when they had set construction on that road. I'll admit it was pretty funny, but it turned into a big deal because apparently they couldn't move the barrier without knowing who put it there, so they diverted traffic down the other road that took like 3 extra miles if you were going from one side of town to the other. I never told anyone about this, and the only reason I say it now is because it was like 7 years ago and I have moved away lol. Edit. Thanks for all the upvotes and medals. I'm glad that my past crimes can be enjoyed by all these people. I went through my friend's phone and read text messages about me. Okay, so basically this all started when I was drunk, and it was 3 a.m. My friend had given me her phone right before she fell asleep. It was open to text messages, our friend group chats, and I don't know what came over me, but I had to search my name. I wasn't expecting anything bad, but what I found made me really upset. I found messages from 2 people in my friend group saying that I'm a bitch for deciding what we do as a friend group, making plans, messages about them ignoring my calls because they didn't want to go somewhere with me, talks about not wanting to be my partner for school projects, them talking about me not taking their feelings seriously, and overall, just negative things. I agreed with some of the things they were saying about me, such as me making plans for the group, but I always try to get their opinion on what we should do when hanging out and sometimes don't even get a response. The texts were always over-exaggerated and sometimes not true. I woke up the next day feeling ashamed for reading the messages, but at the same time I felt like I had no one to talk to about it. I'm really hurt because I never thought friends could say that kind of stuff about me. Especially from someone who I thought was my best friend. I'll probably feel really guilty about reading through these messages for a long time, but the feeling of betrayal will definitely last longer. I wish I never looked, but now I don't know what to do now that I'm in this position. I scammed the state out of a large sum of money in college. TLDR. I took advantage of a change in deposit law in 2007 during college to profit several $1,000s. Back when I was in college, I worked at a party store to support myself. We were one of the largest party stores in the area and well known for always having kegs on hand. I was the night manager and helped with the books on the weekends. Kegs are made from stainless steel, and in 2007 the price of scrap stainless steel was rapidly rising. It was so bad at one point that bars and restaurants could no longer store their empty kegs outside as they would get stolen and sold for scrap. I believe at the time a new half-barrel cost something like $150 to manufacture and was sold with a $10 deposit, but you could take it to a scrap yard and get roughly $30 for the scrap value, thus making back $20. This started to cause a keg shortage, so the state decided to up the deposit from $10 per barrel to $30 per barrel. The State Liquor Control Commission gave us party stores a notice that this increase was coming a few months in advance. And I saw an opportunity. Before my next shift I pulled $100 out of the ATM and was primed and ready to buy as many empty barrels as I could. When a person would bring an empty keg back to the store to return, I would give them their $10 back, out of my own pocket, and load the empty keg into my car to store at home until the deposit increase happened. That first shift I bought 7 empty kegs. After a month I was over triple digits and lost track of how many empty kegs I had. We lived in an old Victorian house that was way too big for me and my 3 roommates. It was a 4-bed 3-bath house with 2 living rooms and 2 kitchens and a 3-car garage. The landlords somehow only charge us $1,200 total per month. The basement had our laundry area and nothing else. That's where I stored all my inventory. One of the full-time managers, non-college student, noticed what I was doing but essentially turned a blind eye to my exploit. He referred to it as Seinfeld-esque, but since I wasn't doing anything to hurt the business or explicitly illegal, I was allowed to continue. My roommates were equally unconcerned as they never had to deal with the empty kegs being in the way of anything, although they did question my judgment. I sank every spare dollar I had into buying as many kegs as possible. When the day came, and the deposit increased to $30/keg, I was ready to reap what I had sown. Every shift, I would load up 3 empty kegs and collect my $90 in cash. I was limited to 3 returns per day, due to the store policy, which I may have contributed to. It took me months to clear my inventory. Since it dragged out so long in returning all the kegs, I'm not positive about how much I profited, but it was over $5,000, which is minimum 250 kegs, and a $2,500 investment. With this windfall I was able to finish my college degree without accruing any additional debt through student loans. I wasn't exactly a broke college student, but I had been paying my way through college and going to school part-time while working full-time. This allowed me to work less and focus on school more and graduate the following year. I used to use InspectElement to change my grades in school. When I was in 9th grade or so, our school started to switch to a more online-based system. In some classes we would start to take quizzes, tests online. We used a few different websites in all of our classes to do this. These websites were connected through the school so the teachers could go online and see our grades on the tests we would take. However, there was this one older science teacher that wasn't very computer fluent. Instead of her going online to check our scores on the quizzes and whatnot, she would have us print out our scores and give them to her. I knew about the InspectElement tool, so I began using it. I would fly through the tests we had to take, and once I got to the results page I would InspectElement to give myself a better grade. I would then sit and play games on the computer until a few other people finished so that I wouldn't look suspicious. I didn't always give myself 100% though, so she didn't expect too much from me since I was always terrible at science. This went on the entire year and I never ended up getting caught. Sure enough, this science class was always one of my top grades on my report card. I put a piece of gum under the table at the security checkpoint at Buckingham Palace. I was a clumsy freshman in high school, and our high school band went on an international field trip to London where we actually played in the St. Patrick's Day Parade. But anyway, We had a lot of excursions during our week-long stay there and I had signed up to go to Buckingham Palace. The day of the excursion arrives, and I start chewing on a piece of gum. After me and the group had reached the palace, the gum lost its flavor, and honestly, I was too lazy to go throw it in a trash can that was literally 20 feet away from the security checkpoint. So yeah, I'm in line waiting to pass through, and there's this plastic table where everyone's bags are checked. I see the guard look away for a minute and I swiftly take the flavorless gum out of my mouth and stick it right under the table. Mission accomplished. Well, during the tour of the palace, I was feeling so uneasy and I was paranoid that they saw me on a camera or something, but nothing happened when the tour finished. Those next few days we were in London, I kept my eyes glued to BBC because I really thought that they were gonna DNA test the gum and arrest me for vandalizing Buckingham Palace. So, the trip ends, and for the next few weeks back in the States, I was still paranoid as SHT, thinking the FBI was going to kick my door down and arrest me for sticking my chewed gum under a security checkpoint table at Buckingham Palace. Well, it's now been 6 years since that infamous moment, so I guess I'm in the clear, haha. I returned a TV after I broke it, taking it out of the box. Today was supposed to be such an exciting day. I saved up $2,000 for a nice new TV, and while I was taking it out of the box I started to stand it up when I noticed that it was wedged under the corner of the couch. Picking up the couch while I was tilting up the TV. Even when the TV is off you can see that the panel is damaged. I am not proud of it, but I called the company that I purchased and had it delivered by and said the panel was defective. I am sorry, big box company, hopefully they have insurance that covers shipping damage. I know it was wrong and I feel bad. Luckily it was a pretty no questions asked return. I hope they don't inspect it too hard when it gets back. Thank you for watching the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more quality content. Leave a comment if you have any suggestions. Goodbye.